there are big games all across the state. Now, I will say that this is Week 6, and Week 6 is the largest open date of the season. More than 29%, it's a little less than 30% of the state is off this week. But that doesn't mean there ain't good games, including a ton of great games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, starting tonight. So, with that in mind, I have put together my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week, starting with number 10, Valley Mills and Axtell. Let's start a little weird. So, this game suddenly became super duper duper interesting with something that didn't involve either of these teams. Let's start with this. District 7 2A Division 1. They're in Region 2 of 2A Division 1. A closely knit, dangerous region. Or district, rather. In region. Valley Mills and Axtell, I think, are two of the favorites to win that district. And if you are a favorite to win your district, you are one of the favorites to win what is a pretty wide open region. Remember, Hamilton won this region last year. Valley Mills' defense has been terrific. Absolutely dominant the last 2 weeks. They drubbed Italy last week, 38-0, which really kind of opened my eyes. Ja'Shawn Johnson, their running back, has been terrific. Ran for 4 touchdowns. Axtell had no problem with Dawson last week. Pitched their second shutout of the game. I think their quarterback, Levi Leathers, is a lot of fun to watch. What makes this even more interesting, you may remember a story that will be reported on TexasFootball.com about Rio Vista, which is in District 7 2A Division 1. Rio Vista was going to be, I would say, at least on the short list of contenders in District 7 2A Division 1. Well, Rio Vista is not eligible for the playoffs anymore because of a district executive committee ruling, which was then upheld by the state executive committee. As a result, I think this might be for the 7 2A Division 1 title. Yep. Tomorrow night in Axtell. Fabulous ball game. Valley Mills and Axtell. Starting off number 10, it's a bit of a hipstery type game, but like a lot at stake and two pretty darn good teams that are playing really good defense right now. So I'm interested to see which of those defenses can continue playing that well. Number 9, Sinton and Corpus Christi Calallen.
Banger.
This is a really good game down the coast.
Yeah, what is it, 5-0 against 4-1?
Yeah. Sinton's 5-0. Last week they played Corpus Christi Miller. Miller's been, boy, it's a tough year for Miller. But they came up with a 35-20 win. Micah Green, their running back, has been terrific. He stole the show with 4 touchdown runs last week. Calallen played Rockport Fulton last week and got pushed in a big way. But wide receiver Drayson Gamez came up with a big play, and they've been making plays when it matters most to move to 4-1. To me, I want to see what the Calallen defense looks like against what has been a very good Sinton offense with Quincy Best, their quarterback, and the aforementioned Micah Green. Fabulous game down the coast. And especially in the small school level, it's a little lighter because of a lot of the open dates. This is a huge, huge game down there in the coastal bend. Corpus Christi Calallen welcoming in Sinton. It's a massive, massive game. Number 8, Yoakum and Blanco. This game, I think, is also flying under the radar. I think Yoakum, I don't know what it is, but Yoakum always tends to do this. They tend to fly under the radar until about this time of year. I think part of it is that they took a loss. They played Cuero back in week 3. And they played them tight, by the way, on the road, lost 42-28 to a team that's bigger than them. I think that's a pretty good loss. Defense has been pretty good, and I think the offense has started to take strides offensively. Going up against a Blanco team that's also 4-1 on the year. They have been, their one loss in the year, they opened up the season with a loss to Hondo, but since then they have been rolling people. But I think that this game is going to be their toughest test since that Hondo game. What I am interested to see is how far this Blanco defense can go, or I'm sorry, this Yoakum defense can go, taking on one of the more dangerous running backs in 3A in Diego Soto, the running back there for Blanco. That is a really fabulous ball game down there in kind of South Texas. And I think that there is a lot to learn from this game for both these teams right before they head into district play. So Blanco and Yoakum, two teams I think are right on the periphery of the top 10 in 3A Division 2. Very interested to see how this one shakes out. Blanco and Yoakum, big game down south. Number 7, Denton Geyer and the little baby Campbell Cowboys.
You just couldn't help yourself, could you?
I'm just saying. Is this game on Texan Live?
Yes. Yeah. Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
How about that? District 5, 6A, I think, I'll say this. I think the District 5, 6A title is probably on the line here.
Yeah.
I think they're the two best teams. Geyer has been
in a tough district,
but I think these are the two best teams. I think Geyer has been a little bit up and down. I think last week their win over Flower Mound was their most impressive yet because they got the offense going. That's been the question for them. Zephyr Cray, I think, had his best game as a junior there. The running game is what really got going. Carter Morgan and Caden Cobbs finally got out of the starting blocks, ran for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the defense for Geyer is always really good. That front seven is going to be really, really, really good. Plain and simple. Going up against Campbell team that we thought was going to be retooling, and I think we've been sandbagged by Antonio Wiley because we knew they got a new quarterback, Carter Zingelman, who's been really strong for them. But they've run the ball well with Dylan McAfee and Jaden George. The difference for them, and I think what has been surprising about Campbell, has been a very young defense has grown up in a big way, in a hurry. Now, Antonio Wiley is a defensive guy, so we probably should have seen it coming, but he was playing, I'll say it to his face too, he was kind of poor boying us in the offseason. It's like, I don't know, we'll graduate a lot of great players.
Maybe.
And they did graduate a lot of great players, but that young defense has stepped up in a big way. That's what makes this a really interesting game. The question is going to be, can Zingelman, the new quarterback for Campbell, get past what has been a very good Geyer defense? Fabulous ball game there. Campbell and Geyer probably for the District 5, 6A title. Newly ranked Campbell, by the way.
Okay.
Number 6.
You took it too far.
Summer Creek and Atascocita. It's yet another game in District 23, 6A. And it's a really important one, I think, for Atascocita. Because last week, again, I mean, you think about the way we were talking about Atascocita early in the season.
It looked like there was no one that was going to be able to stop them in their path.
It looked like they were going to be a runaway freight train, right?
Carday gets hurt and they lose to Westlake, but I felt like we pulled ourselves off and we're like, okay.
Hey, you know what?
Understandable.
He got hurt. It was on the road against a really good Westlake team.
And then,
or no, at home against a really good Westlake team, but like still, really, really great resume.
And then last week they just decided to not play defense.
Now, I will say this. I think that the defense has been an issue consistently.
Yes.
I think it's been covered up by the fact that Carday Mac has been spectacular.
That they can outscore you.
And so last week against CE King, they lose 70-55. They gave up nearly 700 yards of total offense. They gave up 582 yards on the ground. Now, they're taking on a Summer Creek team that looked great last week in beating Channelview. They're a lot better in Channelview. But Noah Spinks, their quarterback, was great. They had 3 defensive touchdowns. They were rolling last week. This is a critical game for Atascocita because they could be staring 0-2 in district in the face, and that's before they play North Shore. Suddenly, like now you've got to wonder where Atascocita is at. I think this is a really important game, and I think Summer Creek's going to be a real problem for them. This is a huge game in District 23-6. I think Summer Creek is one of those underrated teams. They're 4-0.
Especially with, Summer Creek's offense can go. There's no doubt about that, but I'm even interested in Summer Creek's got a huge defensive line.
Yeah.
Like, if they start putting pressure on Carday Mac, I don't think the Atascocita defense, from what we've seen the past couple of weeks, is going to be able to turn around and lean them anywhere from being able to stop them.
And here's the other thing about this, okay? Here's the other thing. Let's say if you're Atascocita, you lose this game. You're 0-2 in district before you play North Shore, right? North Shore, I know they are 3-1, still pretty good. I think still has to be considered the team of record in that district until somebody beats them. You still got to play Kingwood too. And Kingwood ain't lunch meat, okay? I'm just saying, if you're Atascocita, probably need to go win this game. That's number 6. Number 5, Wall and Idalou.
Banger.
Kind of under the radar here. I really think this Idalou team, I think they're better than their record indicated. They started 0-2, but they lost to Lubbock Cooper Liberty, who we're going to talk to their coach coming here in a minute. They lost at Sweetwater in the opener. But since then, they have been rolling and figured things out in a big way. I think Clay White has kind of gotten this team going. I think Camden Lettrick, their quarterback, is a real star in the making, real dynamic quarterback. he's a guy who they moved over from. I think it's classic. They moved him from defense over to offense, and it took him a minute to kind of get his sea legs. I think he's got it now. Going up against a Wall team that is the number 2 team in 3A Division I, and a team that I think is a real threat to win it all. Landon York has been terrific.
Bane Jasinski.
But as importantly, I think their defense has been excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, is the real test, I think, for this Idalou team, especially. But at home, it'll be interesting to see how Wall can hold up against this Idalou team. I think it's a non-district finale for both teams. Really important game that we'll learn a lot about these teams, Wall and Idalou. Number 4, Huntsville and Port Neches Groves. This is a game that's lost a little bit of luster. We were fired up in the before the season about this game. It's lost a little bit of its luster because Huntsville has scuffled a little bit out of the gate. But I do think, I'll say this about Huntsville. I think they are the most athletic team that P&G has seen. And they played LaPorte, but Huntsville, I think, is more athletic than that.
Mm-hmm.
Trayshawn Brown, their quarterback, Zaya Dolphe, has been fun. He can throw it a little bit, too. He's not just a runner. I made this point on Tep and Step. I think that this is the best Port Neches Groves offense that Jeff Joseph has ever had.
Yeah, I mean, typically we're all giddy about their defense, so
yeah.
I can agree.
Connor Bailey, a 3-year starter, led them to a title in 2023. This guy is the star. They got a bunch of weapons on the outside, like Seth Brisboe. They still got the big offensive line. And by the way, like the defense, I don't think the defense is as good as it was in 2023, but I think it's still a Jeff Joseph coach Port Neches Groves defense, which is like going to be certainly a top 20 defense in 5A Division II. This is also a really tough road trip for Huntsville to go to P&G. A really important district game too. P&G and Huntsville will say a lot about what that district is going to look like. I'm fascinated by this ball game at Indian Stadium on Friday night. P&G and Huntsville is a huge, huge game. Number 3, Lubbock Liberty and Midland Greenwood. We're going to talk with the head coach of the Lubbock Liberty Patriots, Coach Joe Sexton, coming up here in just a moment. This is a battle of unbeatens and maybe a surprising one. I've been on the Greenwood train for a while. I think quarterback Lincoln Madrid's a dog. I think their defense has been terrific. They're giving up just 11 points per game. Well, here comes Lubbock Liberty. I think one of the great surprises in Texas high school football at 5-0. The game that really caught my eye was 2 weeks ago when they romped past Seminole. That was when I was like, oh, y'all might be different. Quarterback Colton Bouchard, I think, has been fantastic. And the defense is playing really well right now. Non-district finale, the biggest game in program history for Lubbock Liberty, because they've only been around for 2 years. This is a really interesting game. And by the way, there's a universe where this is the first of 2 meetings. Because they are both in Region 1. Keep an eye on this one. But Midland Greenwood and Lubbock Liberty, we're going to talk with Joe Sexton coming up here momentarily. Number 2, back to the Houston area, Pearland and Pearland Dawson. It's at Pearland Stadium. Call it the Rig, call it the Nest, whatever you want to call it.
When's the last time we've talked like hyping up 2 Pearland schools?
The Battle of Pearland. This is the biggest Battle of Pearland in quite a while.
In a long time.
And this one has really massive stakes because I think if you're Pearland Dawson, after your win over Shadow Creek last week, you are now a win over Pearland away from taking full command of that district. If they win this game, to me, at least 2 of the toughest 3 games are in your rearview mirror, and you've got W's. Luke Brown, I think their quarterback has taken a real step. But the biggest thing is, because this is a 4-1 Dawson team, what cost them in their opener against Bridgeland was defense, and their defense, I think, led by Caden Exum, has really stepped up. That defense gets a big test this week against Pearland. Pearland's offense is out of control. 56 points a game. Jamari Champion, Jake Westmoreland. That is, to me, the real matchup, is when Pearland has the ball. What does the Dawson defense have for them? Great rivalry matchup. It'll be a frenetic crowd there at Pearland Stadium. Fascinating ball game with a ton of stakes. Ton of stakes in this one. Really interested in Pearland and Pearland Dawson. But it's not the biggest game in the state. No. Number 1!
Oh, my.
I was that fired up for Alito and Denton Rock.
If you're not fired enough where you're throwing stuff in the studio, get on off TFT.
Aledo and Denton Ryan. What a ball game. District. I probably don't need to tell you. This is a helmet game. Mm-hmm. This is seeing Texas and Ohio State playing each other. Like, you can just look at the graphic and be like, oh, I'm interested in that game. Remember last time we saw these two teams, Ryan got the win in kind of a shocker in the regional final, 31-21. I won't belabor the point, but the real interesting thing for me is the Ryan defense against the Aledo offense, because that's the good on good here. It's going to be up to Quinn Hennigan to get through this Aledo defense. There's just a lot of stats I can throw out to you. My two favorite ones. 130 game district winning streak for Aledo is on the line. They haven't lost a district game in their leading tackler's lifetime. Like since he was born. Chase Wilburn. And the last time, Aledo has not lost to the same team in consecutive years since 2007-2008, when Everman did it. So a lot on the line in this one at C.H. Collins Stadium tomorrow night. This is a massive, massive game. That is for the District 3 5A Division 1 title, and more importantly, maybe for the number one spot in the 5A D1 rankings. And I think with apologies, maybe to Smithson Valley's in that mix as well, but certainly to establish yourself as the team to beat in 5A D1. There it is, top 10 games of the week. You can watch a bunch of these on Dave Campbell's Texan Live starting tonight on Dave
including
Campbell's.
That Aledo Ryan game.
Aledo Ryan's on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, so make sure you go watch that.